When the grid goes down, things don't fall apart with a bang. They unravel one small failure at a time. Your batteries die, your food spoils, your flashlight becomes a beacon for desperate strangers, and that bottle of water you thought was clean? Suddenly it's not. What separates the calm from the chaos in those moments isn't brute strength or $1,000 gear haul. It's knowledge. It's knowing that one trick, that one move you wish someone had told you about before the world started falling apart. These aren't survival tips you'll find in your average prepper checklist. These are hard-earned tactics, the kind people only talk about after the disaster, when it's too late to go back and prepare smarter. So let's flip the script. These are the 9 survival tricks you'll wish you knew before SHTF. Except, you're about to learn them now. Let's dive in. Number 1, the Twozone water trick. Water isn't optional in a survival scenario. It's your lifeline. You can go weeks without food, but cut off your water and the clock starts ticking. 3 days. That's all it takes before dehydration stops being uncomfortable and becomes lethal. But here's the part most people overlook. Even having water doesn't mean you're safe. Because one tiny mistake, one moment of laziness or cross-contamination, and you can end up with a full supply of water that's worse than useless. It becomes poison. That's why you need to master what experienced survivalists call the Twozone water trick. It's a simple system, but it could save your life. One container, clearly labeled, for questionable water, and a totally separate container for clean water. The dirty container is where you pour in anything gathered from unreliable sources. Rain barrels, creek scoops, melted ice, even scavenged tap water after the grid collapses. This water might look fine, but it hasn't been treated yet. It's not safe. Not until you run it through a filter, boil it, or chemically purify it. Once that's done, the clean, treated water goes into your second container, the safe zone. This isn't just about organization. It's about preventing the one mistake that could ruin everything. Because if you use the same scoop for both buckets, if you accidentally dip a dirty bottle into your clean tank, if a kid reaches into both with the same cup, then all that work? Wasted. Your safe water is now suspect, and if your filters are slow or damaged, starting over might take more time and fuel than you have. So here's how to make the system bulletproof. Color code everything. Red or orange tape for dirty water containers, blue or white for clean. Keep the clean water covered at all times. Store it elevated, never on the floor where it can collect dirt or bugs. And assign specific tools. 1 scoop, 1 cup, 1 bottle per zone. Never let them mix. If you're using a gravity-fed filter like a Berkey or a DIY ceramic rig, mark the chambers clearly. The top tank is dirty, the bottom tank is clean. Never reach into the bottom with dirty hands, and never refill the top with the same pitcher you drink from. And remember, always have a backup. Water purification tablets, bleach drops, iodine, even charcoal or sand filters. Don't rely on just one method, because in a real grid-down situation, redundancy is survival. It's the kind of mistake that seems obvious in hindsight. But when you're thirsty, tired, and rushing, cross-contamination happens fast, and that one mistake could give you dysentery, parasites, or worse. So before the shelves are empty and your taps run dry, build your Twozone system. Label it. Drill your family or group on it. Because when SHTF, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. Number 2, the hidden light principle. In a blackout, light becomes a luxury, but it's also a liability. Because here's something most people don't realize. Your flashlight can betray you. Let's paint the picture. You're in your apartment. Power's been out for 2 nights. The city is dark, silent. People are confused, hungry, desperate, and then someone sees a warm glow coming from your window, a flicker of light under your front door. That's all it takes. That soft beam of light is a signal, a flare that says someone's in there, they have power, they have batteries, they have food, they have hope. And when people are starving or scared, that hope becomes a reason to come knocking, or worse. That's why the hidden light principle might be the most underrated survival trick in your arsenal. Start with this. Black out your windows. Not dim them, not close the curtains. You want full-on zero visibility. Use multiple layers. Heavy blankets, sleeping bags, aluminum foil, dark towels. Tape the edges, seal the leaks. Do a walk-around test. Turn on a flashlight in the room, step outside, and look. If you can see even a flicker, it's not good enough. Next, switch your light color to red. Red light is softer on the eyes, preserves night vision, and more importantly, it doesn't travel as far. It's harder to detect from outside, especially in urban areas with tight alleyways and glass reflection. You can buy tactical flashlights with red filters or make your own. Just use red plastic wrap or cellophane over the lens, secured with rubber bands or tape. Now think about light discipline. Don't light up near doors or windows. Set up light traps, closets, bathrooms, or enclosed spaces where you can safely use light without leaking it out. And if you must use light in a shared room, point it downward. Never up, never out. Phones are the worst offenders. Turn brightness all the way down. Use night mode. Cover the screen when walking around. Even a bright screen lighting up your face near a window is enough to draw attention. Train your group. This is just as important as water discipline. Everyone needs to understand that light equals exposure. That flashlight you're swinging around isn't just illuminating the room. It's making you visible from rooftops, balconies, and across courtyards. And when everything outside is dark, the human eye becomes a predator's eye. It notices motion. It locks on to any hint of color. It follows light like a moth to flame. So hide your light. Shield it. Think before you use it. Because after SHTF, the people who survive aren't always the ones with the most gear. Sometimes it's the ones who knew when not to shine. Number 3, battery rotation with a twist. Let's talk about one of the most deceptively fragile pieces of your survival setup: batteries. When we think of emergency gear, we think about tools, radios, flashlights, headlamps, fans. But the truth is, all of those are just dead weight if the batteries inside them are drained, corroded, or expired. And yet, most preppers toss a few packs into a bin and call it a day. Big mistake. Because your devices don't run on batteries. They run on properly maintained batteries. Enter the twist. Reverse polarity storage. It's one of the smartest, most overlooked tricks in the survival world. Here's how it works. Instead of storing batteries the correct way inside your devices, flip them around. Positive end on the negative terminal, negative on the positive. This breaks the circuit and blocks what's called phantom drain, the slow, constant bleeding of power from electronics that are technically off, but still sipping juice in the background. You wouldn't notice it after a day or two, but leave those batteries in your headlamp or weather radio for a month. You're in for a nasty surprise the next time you try to use them. But that's just one part of the problem. Ever open an old flashlight and find that crusty white acid goop leaking from the battery compartment? That's corrosion, and once it starts, it spreads. It damages the contacts, ruins the circuits, and sometimes makes the entire device useless. Reverse polarity storage doesn't just block drains, it protects your gear from turning into a corroded paperweight when you need it most. Now let's talk rotation. Batteries aren't fine wine, they don't get better with age. Every battery in your cache should be dated and rotated. Grab a permanent marker and write the purchase date on every single one. Better yet, mark the expected expiration date too. Store them in a system, a small divider box, ammo can, or Ziploc bags labeled by freshness. You want to be able to grab a green battery in a second and know it's good to go. Don't mix new batteries with half-used ones. That's how you burn through fresh cells without realizing it. And once you've created your rotation plan, stick to it. Check your stash every 6 months. Set a calendar reminder. Don't assume you'll remember. And for the love of survival, store your batteries in the right conditions. No attics, no glove boxes, no drawers next to the oven. Extreme heat kills battery life. Dampness invites corrosion. You want cool, dry, and stable. Because here's the reality. In a blackout, when you're fumbling in the dark, every second counts. The last thing you want is a dead flashlight and the crushing realization that your prep failed you, all because you didn't flip a battery. Do it right, flip it, rotate it, store it smart. Battery failure isn't just an inconvenience, it's a total system collapse. Number 4, the silent cook method. Picture this. It's day 4 of the blackout. The sky's overcast, the streets are quiet, and the air feels heavy. You haven't heard a car in hours. People are holed up, hungry, waiting. And then it happens. You light up your tiny propane stove, cook some rice, and the scent slips out. It only takes one whiff. You've just advertised that you have food, and in a grid-down world, that's like flashing cash in a riot. This is why every prepper needs to master the silent cook method. Let's start with the obvious. Ditch the noisy heat sources. A propane stove, butane burner, or even a can of fuel gel can hiss like a warning siren in a silent apartment building. Instead, lean on ultra-quiet heat sources like sterno cans, candle warmers, or alcohol stoves made from soda cans. These are low flame, low noise, and ultra discreet when used properly. But the real gem in this trick? Thermal cookers. You bring water to a boil for just a minute or two, then transfer everything into an insulated pot or wrapped container. It continues cooking silently. No flame, no smoke, no lingering odor trail. And if you're cooking indoors, treat your cooking space like a containment chamber. Choose the smallest, most interior room possible. A bathroom, a closet, or a tented area built from blankets or tarps. Block the base of doors with towels. Hang thick sheets to muffle noise and trap scents. Create a small heat tent around your cook area to isolate smells even further. Then, be strategic about your meals. Don't cook bacon, don't simmer chili, don't toast garlic. As delicious as those smells are, they carry. Stick to bland foods like rice, instant oats, powdered mashed potatoes, lentils, foods that rehydrate fast with little scent, little fuel, and little noise. And here's a pro move. Prep in bulk, cook less often. Boil water for 3 meals at once. Use thermoses or sealed containers to store warm food. Less cooking equals less attention. Why does this matter? Because hunger creates desperation. And when people are desperate, they don't knock. They push. They pry. They take. Your neighbors might be good people today, but a week into no power, no water, and empty shelves, that changes. A single cooking scent becomes a beacon, and in a starving city, beacons attract wolves. So learn to cook silently. Prep like your safety depends on it, because one hot meal made the wrong way could invite the wrong kind of visitor. Food should nourish you, not expose you. Keep it quiet, keep it safe, keep it smart. Number 5, the clothing layer, trap. When people imagine survival, they think of fire-starting kits, water filters, maybe a stash of canned goods. But what gets most folks killed isn't lack of food or water. It's exposure. Cold that seeps into your bones, sweat that turns to ice, clothes that trap the wrong kind of heat or wick it away when you need it most. Welcome to the clothing layer trap. It starts with good intentions. You throw on that sleek nylon hoodie, maybe a base layer marketed as performance gear. But here's the catch. Survival isn't a photo shoot. That synthetic blend might wick moisture, sure, but get too close to a fire and it melts to your skin. Or worse, it traps sweat against your body, and the moment temperatures drop, your core temp drops with it. The first rule of smart clothing in survival: understand the purpose of each layer. Clothing isn't fashion, it's life support. Start with your base layer, the one that touches your skin. This needs to wick moisture, not hold it. Merino wool is king. It's soft, warm, and still insulates when wet. Synthetic polyester works too, but beware of fire hazards. Next up, your insulation layer, the warmth trap. Think fleece, wool sweaters, down vests. This is your buffer against cold air, your mobile heat bank. Finally, your outer shell. This needs to stop wind and repel water. A breathable rain jacket, a military-grade poncho, or even a waxed canvas coat will do. The goal here isn't just to stay dry, it's to stay alive when the weather turns vicious. Now repeat this philosophy head to toe. Wool socks, not cotton. Cotton gets wet, stays wet, and turns your toes into ice cubes. Gloves? Avoid synthetics that melt. Hats? Cover your ears, a huge source of heat loss. And always carry backups in sealed plastic bags. Here's the survival hack nobody talks about. Change into dry clothes before sleep. Even if it's cold, even if you're tired, wearing the same sweat-soaked shirt you hiked in, that's how people wake up with hypothermia. Or not at all. And don't wait until SHTF to try this system. Field test it. Go camping in the cold. Sleep in your gear. Sweat in it. Wash it in a creek. Dry it in the wind. Find the holes now, not when it's too late. Because when a chill sets in at 2 a.m. and you're shaking in a damp hoodie, that's when you realize gear doesn't save you. Knowledge of gear does. So if even one of these tips has surprised you so far, just imagine how many more you don't know. Let's keep going. It gets even better. Number 6, toothbrush equal mental health tool. When the world falls apart, the grid's down, supplies are gone, the streets aren't safe, the first thing that crumbles isn't your body. It's your mind. Chaos destroys routines, and without routines, people unravel. You forget who you were before the disaster hit. You stop doing things that made you feel human. You give in to the spiral. One dirty shirt, one skipped meal, one sleepless night at a time. And that's where the toothbrush comes in. Yes, the toothbrush. Because brushing your teeth isn't just hygiene, it's a ritual, a tether to normalcy. When everything else collapses, this one tiny act tells your brain, I'm still here, I still care, I still have control. You'd be surprised how much that matters. When your days blur, when morale crashes, brushing twice a day can anchor your sanity. It's 5 minutes of silence, structure, and care. In a world gone savage, those 5 minutes can feel like gold. But let's flip the coin. What happens if you don't? Gum disease, toothaches, bleeding, inflamed gums, infections that enter your bloodstream, cracked molars that prevent you from chewing anything harder than mashed potatoes. And guess what? There's no dentist coming, no antibiotics, no Novocaine. Oral infections can literally kill you in a survival setting. You won't eat, you won't sleep, you'll spiral, physically and mentally, over something that could have been prevented with a $1 toothbrush. And it doesn't take much space. One small brush, a travel tube of toothpaste, a dab of baking soda, even just salt water in a pinch. That's all it takes to keep your mouth and your morale intact. Some experienced preppers take it a step further. A spare brush in every bug-out bag, a tin of floss in their medical kit, even chew sticks carved from safe wood in extreme cases. Because they know the truth. Once you stop taking care of yourself, you've already started dying. So yeah, it's just a toothbrush, until it's the one thing that keeps you functioning when everything else falls apart. Don't wait until your breath stinks, your teeth ache, and your mood is shot. Pack the brush, use it, stick to it. Because sometimes survival starts with the smallest tool and the strongest habit. Number 7, the 1 knife, 3 jobs rule. If you thought the last few tips were good, buckle up. This is where it gets serious. If there's one survival tool people romanticize and misuse, it's the knife. Everybody's got their favorite blade, tactical, foldable, serrated, coated in mystery metal and sharp enough to shave bark off a tree. But here's the reality. One knife cannot do it all. When the grid goes down and the pressure's on, you'll learn this the hard way. That one knife you were using to cook dinner, you just jammed it into a box of rusted hardware. Now it's dull, or worse, dirty with something toxic. And when night falls and you need a clean edge to prep food or a sharp weapon to defend yourself, it fails you. That's why every serious prepper lives by this. 1 knife, 3 jobs. Each blade has a dedicated role, and crossing those lines is what gets people hurt, sick, or stranded. First up, your food knife. This one stays clean, always. It's your kitchen blade, your meal prep tool. No prying, no digging, no sawing wood, just chopping, slicing, and maybe skinning game. If you contaminate this knife, you risk foodborne illness, which can wreck you in a survival setting. Second, your utility knife. This is your go-to for the tough stuff. Cutting rope, opening containers, whittling tools, even scraping sap or glue. It's going to get beat up, but that's okay, because it's not your food knife and it's not your last line of defense. Which brings us to blade number 3, your defense knife. This one, sacred. It's your backup when things go south. It needs to stay sharp, clean, and instantly accessible. It's not for chores, it's not for show, it's your silent promise to yourself, if I need to fight, I have the edge to survive. Now here's how to keep it straight. Color code your blades, red tape for defense, blue for food, yellow for utility. Use paracord, paint, or even nail polish. Organize them in different sheaths or pouches, because when adrenaline hits, the last thing you want is confusion. Imagine grabbing your clean knife in the dark, only to realize it's crusted with motor oil, or reaching for a weapon and pulling out your cooking blade. Those few seconds of hesitation, in survival, they can cost you everything. So stop fantasizing about the one perfect knife. It doesn't exist. What does exist is discipline, preparation, and redundancy. When you divide your tools by job and use them smartly, your gear lasts longer, your meals are safer, and when it's time to defend yourself, you're ready. Number 8, the dead drop cash system. Here's a scenario. Your apartment catches fire, or looters break in, or you're forced out by a gas leak, martial law, or something even worse. You run with whatever's on your back. And that perfectly prepped bug-in shelter, it's suddenly out of reach. This is where the dead drop cash system becomes the ace up your sleeve. It's simple. You take a waterproof, weatherproof container, think ammo can, PVC pipe with sealed ends, or even a rugged dry bag, and you bury, hide, or conceal it somewhere about 1-2 blocks away from your main shelter. Not miles away. Just far enough that if you lose access to your home or base, you've got a lifeline within walking distance. Inside the cache, just the essentials. A backup multi-tool, copies of IDs, some emergency cash, a solar battery bank, a small radio, a flashlight, food bars, water purification tabs, maybe even a clean pair of socks and a toothbrush. Then you stash it in an obscure but memorable spot. The hollow of a tree under a loose paving stone, inside a planter behind an abandoned building, or duct taped to the underside of a public trash bin lid. Be discreet, but clever. Use locations that look boring to everyone else. And here's what most people forget. Rotate it. Check it every few months. Make sure it's dry, intact, and still hidden. Caches aren't set it and forget it. They're your final fallback. Number 9, the 3-2-1 communication rule. Still with me? Good. Because what's coming next might just change the way you prep forever. When disaster strikes, communication is the first thing to vanish. The grid goes dark, cell towers go down, and you're left wondering, who's alive, what's happening, and how the hell do I reach anyone? That's why every smart prepper follows the 3-2-1 rule of survival comms. 3 ways to communicate. That might mean your phone for text or calls when they're working, a walkie-talkie or ham radio with preset channels for when they're not, and a simple visual method like flashlight signals, mirror flashes, or even chalk marks. Low tech, yes, but when the internet's gone and networks collapse, low tech is gold. 2 power sources. Your phone battery will die. Your flashlight might too. You need redundancy, a solar power bank, a crank charger, even a backup battery pack kept charged weekly. Never assume one power source will last. 1 offline map and contact list. It's easy to think, I'll just call them. But what happens when you lose your phone or when it's locked, broken, or dead? Keep a printed list of key numbers, addresses, meeting points, laminated if possible. Tape it inside your bugout bag or stash it in your dead drop cache. This rule isn't dramatic, it's not flashy, but it saves lives. People die not because they run out of food, but because they get lost, isolated, or miss the window to escape danger because they didn't get the message. Every one of these survival tricks seems obvious after disaster strikes, but before the shelves are empty, before the tap runs dry, before you're sitting in the dark wondering what went wrong, these little tips feel like overkill. Like something you'll get around to eventually, until eventually doesn't come. That's the trap most people fall into, thinking they'll rise to the occasion. But the truth is, no one rises to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation, and that's what real prepping is. It's not paranoia, it's not panic, it's quiet foresight. It's choosing to stack the odds in your favor while you still have the time, the light, and the luxury to do so. Because once the power's out and the streets are full of questions and fear, it's too late to Google your way to safety. By then, you're either ready or at risk. So here's what you need to do. Save this list, rewatch it if you have to, pick just one trick and start practicing it today. Not when you have time, not when things feel urgent. Today. Because the more calmly and consistently you prepare now, the more quietly and confidently you'll survive later. And when the panic sets in around you, you'll be the one who's calm, the one who's thinking clearly, the one who already knows what to do. If this video gave you even one idea worth using, subscribe. Like the video. And while you're at it, comment below with your most slept-on survival tip. We might just steal it and give you credit.